Hello, everyone. Today, I want to share something very personal, my journey to speaking English fluently. It's a story filled with challenges, mistakes, and countless lessons. But most importantly, it's a story of perseverance. When I first started learning English, I struggled a lot. My name is Daniel, and I grew up in a small town where English wasn't commonly spoken. It was a language I only encountered in school, in textbooks, and during exams. For years, I thought English was just another subject to pass. But over time, I realized it was so much more than that. English was a key that could open doors to opportunities, friendships, and a better life. In school, I was the quiet student who avoided speaking during English lessons. I was terrified of making mistakes. Every time the teacher asked me to read something out loud, my heart raced. What if I mispronounced a word? What if everyone laughed at me? These fears kept me silent for a long time, but as I grew older, I realized that avoiding English wasn't the solution. If I wanted to succeed, I had to face my fears head on. I still remember the day I made this decision. It wasn't easy, but I told myself, I'm going to start speaking English, no matter how many mistakes I make. And let me tell you, there were a lot of mistakes. At first, I practiced alone. I would stand in front of the mirror and have imaginary conversations. I'd say things like, even though I was just talking to myself, it felt like a big step. I also started recording my voice. Listening to those recordings was painful at first. I hated how I sounded, but over time, I began to notice improvements, and that motivated me to keep going. One of the turning points in my journey was joining an English-speaking club. The first time I introduced myself in front of the group, I was so nervous. My hands were shaking, and my words were all over the place. But do you know what happened? No one laughed at me. Instead, they encouraged me. They told me I was brave for trying, and that support gave me the confidence to keep practicing. The fear of making mistakes is something we all face. It's a fear that can hold us back if we let it. But here's what I've learned. Mistakes are not something to be afraid of. They're a sign that you're learning. Every time you say something in English, even if it's not perfect, you're taking a step forward. I still remember one embarrassing moment when I was speaking with a native English speaker. I wanted to say, she is a doctor, but I accidentally said, he is a doctor. I quickly corrected myself, but I felt so embarrassed. However, the person I was speaking to just smiled and said, don't worry, I understand you. That moment taught me that communication is about understanding, not perfection. The more I practiced, the more I improved. I made it a habit to speak English every single day. Whether I was talking to a friend, ordering food, or even thinking to myself, I tried to use English as much as possible. At first it felt awkward, but over time it became natural. I also surrounded myself with English. I watched movies and TV shows in English, listened to podcasts, and read books. Immersing myself in the language helped me improve not only my vocabulary, but also my understanding of how native speakers communicate. One technique that really helped me was shadowing. This is where you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say, mimicking their pronunciation and intonation. It felt like I was learning to sing a new song, and it made a huge difference in how I spoke. Another important lesson I learned is the power of small goals. I used to think that fluency was an impossible dream, but I broke it down into smaller steps. For example, I challenged myself to learn 5 new words every day or have a short conversation in English with someone. These small achievements added up over time, and before I knew it, I was much more confident. To anyone watching this video, I want you to know it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to feel nervous or unsure. What matters is that you try. The only way to improve is by doing, and the more you practice, the better you'll get. Learning English isn't just about studying. It's about using the language in real life. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing the process. Yes, it's challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. I know many of you are here to improve your English listening skills, and that's a fantastic start. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for learning a language. It helps you understand how words are pronounced, how sentences are structured, and how emotions are expressed. So here's my advice. Listen to as much English as you can. It doesn't matter if it's a podcast, a movie, or even a YouTube video like this one. The more you expose yourself to the language, the more familiar it will become. To end this video, I want to remind you of something very important. Don't let fear hold you back. Speak English, even if you make mistakes. Remember, every successful English speaker was once a beginner, just like you. They made mistakes, felt embarrassed, and doubted themselves, but they kept going. If I can do it, so can you. So keep practicing, stay confident, and never give up. You're capable of achieving fluency. You just have to believe in yourself. Chapter 2: The Path to Confidence and Fluency. I'm so glad you've stayed with me as we continue this journey. In the first chapter, I shared my initial struggles and the steps I took to overcome them. Now, let's dive deeper into the practices and habits that truly transformed my English speaking abilities and how you can apply them to your own life. When I first decided to take learning English seriously, I realized something important. Consistency was the key. It wasn't enough to study English once in a while. I had to make it a part of my daily routine. So I created a schedule, a realistic one that I could stick to. Every morning, I spent 30 minutes learning new vocabulary, and every evening I practiced speaking. These little sessions, day after day, made a huge difference over time. One thing that helped me stay consistent was setting clear goals. For example, I'd tell myself, this week I'll learn 23 new words, or by the end of this month, I'll be able to talk about my hobbies in English. These goals kept me motivated, and crossing them off. My list gave me a sense of accomplishment, but let me be honest, it wasn't always easy. There were days when I felt frustrated, days when I thought, why am I even trying? During those times, I reminded myself of why I started. I wanted to speak English fluently, to connect with people, to explore new opportunities, and giving up wasn't an option. Another major milestone in my journey was improving my listening skills. At first, I struggled to understand native speakers. They talk so fast. It felt like their words were blending together. But instead of getting discouraged, I decided to tackle this challenge head on. One thing I loved about reading was how it introduced me to new ideas and cultures. Through books, I traveled to faraway lands, met fascinating characters, and experienced emotions I never thought possible. Reading didn't just make me a better English speaker, it made me a better person. Chapter 3. Hi. Again, I can't tell you how much it means to me that you've stayed with me through this journey. It's a testament to your dedication and to the incredible potential you have within you. As we move forward, let's dive even deeper into the story of how I transformed my English skills and how you can do the same. By now, I had reached a point where English was more than just a language to me. It was a bridge, a way to connect with people, to explore new ideas, and to express myself in ways I never thought possible. But that didn't mean the journey was over. In fact, in many ways, it felt like I was just getting started. One of the things I learned during this phase was the importance of feedback. When you're learning a language, it's easy to get stuck in your own head. You might think you're doing well, or you might feel like you're failing. But without feedback, it's hard to know for sure. So, I started seeking it out. Whenever I had a conversation in English, I'd ask the other person for their thoughts. Did I pronounce everything correctly? Did I use the right words? And most importantly, did they understand me? Their feedback was like a mirror, showing me where I was doing well and where I needed to improve. I also started recording myself speaking English. At first, it was uncomfortable hearing my own voice, but it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Listening to those recordings helped me catch mistakes I didn't notice in the moment, like mispronouncing certain words or speaking too quickly. And over time, I started hearing the progress I was making, which was incredibly motivating. Another breakthrough came when I realized the power of context. You see, learning individual words is helpful, but learning them in context is even better. For example, instead of just memorizing the word journey, I'd learn phrases like embark on a journey or the journey of a lifetime. This helped me understand how words fit together and made it easier to use them naturally in conversations. To reinforce this, I started reading books and watching movies in English. But I didn't just passively consume the content. I engaged with it. If I came across a new word, I'd pause, look it up, and try to use it in a sentence. If I didn't understand a scene in a movie, I'd rewind and watch it again, paying close attention to the dialogue, the tone, and the context. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the feeling of understanding something in English without needing a translation. It's like unlocking a door to a whole new world. Speaking of new worlds, let's talk about travel. Now, I know not everyone has the opportunity to travel, but if you do, it's one of the best ways to immerse yourself in a language. I remember my first trip to an English-speaking country. At first, I was nervous. What if I couldn't understand people? What if they couldn't understand me? But then, something amazing happened. I realized that people are incredibly kind and patient, especially when they see you're making an effort. I had conversations with strangers, ordered food at restaurants, and even asked for directions, all in English. And with each interaction, my confidence grew. Of course, you don't need to travel to immerse yourself in English. You can create an immersive environment right where you are. Surround yourself with English music, podcasts, and videos. Find a language partner to practice with. And most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. In fact, mistakes are one of the best ways to learn. I can't tell you how many times I said something wrong or misunderstood someone, but instead of letting those moments discourage me, I saw them as opportunities. Each mistake taught me something new and brought me one step closer to fluency. As we come to the end of this chapter, I want to leave you with one final thought. Learning English isn't just about mastering a skill. It's about discovering a part of yourself you never knew existed. It's about building confidence, embracing new experiences, and connecting with people in ways that transcend language. So keep going, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, because I promise you, the journey is worth it. And remember, you're not alone. I'm here to guide you, to cheer you on, and to celebrate your progress. Together, we'll unlock the incredible power of English and open doors to opportunities you never imagined. Thanks for watching.